Hello. This is episode 3 of 4 from Granite City Walkfest. In this episode, we are joined by Romero Green, Brandon Klein, and at some point, Thomas Chatfield. And this was kind of a special episode. I get to tell a story about a crazy old man in Pokemon Go. So I hope you all enjoy this story. We also talk about Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit. I give it my little bit of a review. Anyway, let's cue the music. Once again, welcome to Don't Evolve Me, the place like Ash Ketchum's Pikachu. We don't evolve, we just level up. And right now we got guest Romero, actually just a regular Romero.
Y'all know what it is over here. Bust down everything, setting rose gold. We out in this piece, man. We here at this tournament. It's a great time. Warhammer, man. Tom, he holding it down for the people.
Yes.
Jake is looking at me very confused right now. It's all good, man.
He's just taking it over. It's all right. And then we also have Brandon still here. Oh, at Wogfest. Not Wogfest, Wogfest.
Wogfest.
I've learned. It took me 5 hours to figure it out.
There's a GH.
Oh yeah, there is a sheet in front of us. It hasn't been there the entire time, folks.
Yeah.
All right, so we were just talking about Guardians because I just saw it finally after 5 weeks. These two gentlemen have not. And we were talking about how I have kids and I've seen it, and they have not, and they both don't have children.
That was a private conversation, sir. You didn't have to put us out like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
Put us
disregard
on
the fact that I told them they don't have children.
Man, I don't care about that.
Here's the real episode.
The Galaxy.
I came on here to say I'm tired of Jake shit.
Yeah, this is the
I
episode
haven't
where
given
we
you
call
shit in a
out,
while. Well, at least in like face to face.
That's true. Just to be clear, I do miss you. I hope you're doing well. I mean, you're out. So.
Yep, I'm up. I have a scar. It's awesome. Actually, I wouldn't say it's awesome. I'm actually up and finally like feeling healthy.
Good,
So
man. Good.
back to podcasting. I think the first one, the return, was nearly 2.5 hours long for a podcast. Had a dream this week about podcasting where I hyperfixated. Was supposed to do a demi, which is only 20 minutes long. Ended up being two hours long.
Jesus.
This was a dream, by the way. But I was so into it that I was like, I went 2 hours over.
Okay. You
sure
it's a dream?
Right.
Well, I don't have a recording of it, so I kind of hope so.
Okay.
I'm just like sleepwalking as I'm like sleepwalk podcasting, and I didn't record
It's
it.
a demi.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting if you could like sleepwalk. Like I don't think maybe take 10 minutes, even if it was like illegible and like just gibberish. But like, this is me sleepwalking.
Take some Ambien sometime and you'll know what that's like.
I don't know if I want to do that.
That's
I don't
people
know
do
if
crazy
you
stuff
want-
on Ambien.
Yeah, so we're talking Guardians. I haven't seen it. I am giving it a 4+. My wife gave it a 5. It's definitely a good fitting ending for Guardians of the Galaxy. I will say that the ending fits the characters.
Okay.
My only question is Thor in it at all?
No. Have you seen Thor: Love and Thunder?
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was terrible.
Bad.
Yeah,
That was the last one I saw in theaters.
there's no reference to Thor, which I think is fine. It works with the
Yeah, I
characters.
that's good.
Yeah, I mean,
I wish there was
a
a reference, but there wasn't.
If he wasn't done making the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I'd be more disappointed, seeing as they did set up
Yeah.
like a cool Thor Guardians crossover.
Well, that wasn't James Gunn who did that. That was
Yeah.
Marvel. That was Kevin Feige.
Yeah, but I would have loved to see what James Gunn did with Thor.
That would have been interesting. I think there'd be some funny like back and forth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're right there.
But he did Endgame and Infinity War. He did provide the writing for those characters.
Right. That's
So-
why they're always so cohesive.
Infinity War essentially was that.
yeah.
But yeah, so I give it a 4+. My biggest concern, I'm not gonna spoil it too much. The first like half or so of the movie, I was kind of like, what's the character arcs? Like, what's the character's journey of all the characters? But I will say the second half of the movie took care of it. Like the ending kind of took care of all the arcs that I wasn't even aware was happening. And so like my concerns was like, oh, okay, they did address all these characters and their arc. I think the only character who doesn't really get an arc is Groot.
He, yeah.
But he does get a little bit of arc, but not a major one.
I feel like his whole arc was throughout the movies,
Yeah.
dying and then being reborn and regrowing.
Well, those are two separate characters.
Yeah. Well,
I will say
The
Hardly.
ending, the last we see of Groot, he becomes something else. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
You have no idea what it means unless you know comics.
Yeah, chill out.
So Ro, you're good. Brandon, maybe, I don't know.
Chill out.
Wait, you telling me to chill? Oh, I thought you were telling Ro to chill.
We just met.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I know, it was a brave. It was a
We
brave.
have not seen the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, good movie. I had another concern, but I completely forgot about it. So I guess it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
But it's good. And there's one scene I'll just say it's like a hallway scene
Okay.
where
Okay.
it perfectly it captures the Guardians in action.
They've always done really good with that, like in the beginning of the second movie when they're fighting that like
Yeah.
giant eye monster thing or whatever,
Yeah.
like the introduction and stuff. They're always really good at, showing like a scene.
I would just say this might be the best hallway scene in all of Marvel.
Even better than Daredevil.
Yes.
No.
No. Hold on.
You're tripping.
Hold on. The Daredevil scene was amazing. You know me. You know how I judge things, right? So when I'm saying it's arguably better than the Daredevil, it is. It's arguably.
I don't know. Daredevil is like the best hallway scene aside from one movie I can think of. Period.
Have you guys? Side note. Have you guys seen the show Snowfall?
No, I haven't. It's always been on my radar,
No.
but I haven't
It's
watched
so
it.
fucking good. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
Here's
Wait,
the reason-
Snowpiercer or Snowfall?
I'm sorry?
Snowpiercer or Snowfall?
Snowfall.
The FX
I don't know if I ever heard of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Here's the reason that I bring this up.
Okay.
In their final season, there's an episode where they have a hallway shot, and I was like, this is how influential Daredevil Daredevil scene was. A show that's about drugs and stuff like that, shot for shot, like frame for frame. So I just
Okay.
thought that was cool. Conclusion: when you tell me that something's better than Daredevil, you better come correct.
Okay, I will say there is one movie. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it's like a Japanese movie that like kind of originated the hallway thing.
Old Boy?
And
I was just thinking that.
is
Old
it?
Boy?
Yeah.
Is it that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like literally like fights like 100 dudes in the hallway.
Old Boy to Daredevil.
Yeah.
Daredevil to
I'll give it.
Galaxy.
I will say, all right, Daredevil and Old Boy, they're more practical effects.
That's what makes them so awesome.
Guardians
It's just so real and brutal.
isn't necessarily practical effects, but they use the CGI effects so well. Like, I was just amazed while watching that scene.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just beautiful because it's the Guardians together.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't even ask any questions without spoilers, so I don't really know how to talk about this.
I just want to tell you all of them die.
Yeah, I don't.
So before we were recording, I was telling Romero the story about how me and Brandon used to work together, and we were talking Arrow. We used to talk Arrow all the time when it was a big show, and we would talk episode to episode. And he would never watch it night of, and so the day after, I would just be like, "Oh, Oliver Queen died." And then one time, he actually did die in season 3 in the mid-season finale, and our boss flipped out because he watched it with us, and he's like, "Why would you tell him that?" And Brandon was just shocked, like, "Wait, what? He did die?"
Yep. Good times.
And I'm like, "Well, it'd been fine because he doesn't believe me, and I didn't spoil it at all because he wouldn't believe me. He never did believe it, but now he does."
Now I don't trust anything.
Don't
Jake
worry, he
says
comes
ever.
back. It's a comic book show. He's the main character. He can't die. Actually, spoiler alert, he dies at the end of the
I was
show.
about to say,
Yeah, yeah.
he does die.
Did he interview? Did you finish Arrow? Like you actually
That's
watched
the
all of
only
it?
CW show I finished.
Okay. Yeah, I think I fell off around season 5. Last thing I remember was like a giant island exploding.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the last season
As
that was
far as I'm
good.
concerned, that's the canon ending. Everyone just died on the island, and it's over.
That's probably the best ending you can have.
Yeah, works
Because
for me.
like they didn't really kill off anybody at the end of it,
Oh yeah, somehow they all survive.
Except
even
for
though they were,
the-
like, doomed to die. On
except
the
for his son's mom,
I think the last
the,
show I
the
watched.
most expendable character.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Oh, the season 5 finale of Arrow, like the whole island exploded, but nobody died except for the most expendable character.
Yeah. Classic.
Like,
Yeah, right. Never saw that coming.
I think the last show I ever saw on CW was Smallville.
That's that. I don't know.
that is taking it way back.
I'm an
don't
old
think
man,
it-
Jake.
I don't think it
Okay.
holds up, but that's still one of my favorite shows. Like I'm scared to go back and watch it.
It's good. Not for now.
Wait, you
Yeah,
never watched,
that's what I'm saying.
Wait, you never watched Supernatural or anything?
Oh yeah,
Arrowverse.
Oh, Supernatural.
I've
That's
seen-
like the top of my list.
I've seen bits and pieces of Arrow. I've seen bits and pieces of The Flash. I've even seen bits and pieces of what's the latest one?
Superman?
Yeah,
Lois and Clark.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
That one I think is good. It looks
Yeah.
I've
good.
heard that it's Not
I think it's Superman and Lois.
yeah, that's what it is.
Lois and Clark.
was the original one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is 90s.
Yeah.
All right, should we get into this Pokemon Go story?
Yeah, tell me. I've been meaning to hear this for like
Okay.
a long time.
So I have not explained the story on the podcast, and I'm not going to use his name at all. We're just going to call him Crazy Old Man, or Calm for short.
Don't you call him Jon Snow?
Oh, no. Jon Snow's a friend of mine who's,
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
he's part of this, though. Very infamous Sync Club player. He's like the only person I've ever actually like named on any podcast.
Okay.
So shout out to Jon Snow. Anyone who's ever been in a gym knows who he is, at least in St. Cloud. So anyway, all right. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. So there's this man, crazy old man. He's like in his 60s, maybe early 70s, and he goes around and battles gyms all the time. The first time I ever met him was I would take gyms around Munsinger Park in St. Cloud, just an area with like 5 or 6 gyms, and I would take him over, and this man would just come and knock me out. No big deal. It's just part of the game. And I wanted to meet this guy at first. And I went to go, like, I wasn't expecting an old person because it's usually young people, especially in the beginning. It was like, kids our age who grew up with Pokemon.
Right.
And then, like, old people just being like, what the fuck is going on? Because there's like 20 people sitting in one spot in the park, and this old couple would be like, everyone's just staring at their phones, cheering. There had to be articles explaining to old people in the newspaper, like, this is what's happening, don't freak out.
Yeah.
There's so many articles, it was great. So anyway, this was like a few years past. And I drive up to this guy, I wanted to like say hi, and I realized it was an old man, and he just turns around and goes, "Arr," to me. Like, he just like, I don't know if he actually growled, but like his face was growling at me.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like,
got like a mean, just
well,
a mean face.
It was just a mean face. I mean, I did take him out of like every gym in the area. It wasn't like personal at that time. It was just part of the game.
Not yet.
personal.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, I don't want to talk to this guy. All right. A couple years later, I meet an individual, older lady, and we become friends because we were in the same gym. She somehow found me on Facebook, and she was like, hey, you're Nero Plays. I'm like, I am. How did you know who I am? I thought I had a secret identity. Apparently you figured it out. So we become friends, and we start battling this Jon Snow person because his territory was right where we lived, and so we started battling back and forth. Jon Snow ended up becoming friends with my friend, and then she turned to red, where I'm blue. But then we started becoming friends and became allies. But Jon Snow and this crazy old man, Calm we'll call him, they had a rivalry since the past because Jon Snow plays gyms really hard, and if anyone comes to his territory, he knocks if you have any gym in St. Cloud, he knocks you out of it. He will find you, he'll knock you out. He just has the time of day to do so. And this man just does not accept defeat. He always comes back. So for like a good 2-3 years, they were just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And my friend ended up joining this like rivalry. And so a new gym came up in where I lived and where she lived. She lived like, it was like a few blocks from me. It was like several blocks from her. And so initially we battled Jon Snow, and then it became her gym, her territory gym, and I kept the one that we shared. And this man would come by and every day would knock him out. So at this time, like, I finally meet this person, and he's just like, well, these people keep tailing me, he keep doing this, he's just lying through his teeth. Because this man would literally tail Jon Snow everywhere. Like, he would just, like, if he would leave a gym, he would follow him via car. He did the same to my friend too, to the point where he's just following him around. I'm getting to the good stuff. This is just the context of the story. I know you heard it.
You're setting it up. I can see it.
And so I started talking to him. He lied about it, and I become friends with him because I'm like, all right, this guy wants to go to this gym. How you go to the gym is you need 3,000 gym points. So you can sit in the gym for 21 days and you get the points. Or you can take the gym like 10,000 times or so, whatever the math works out, or you can raid the gym 30 times. Each raid is 1,000 points. And so it's more valuable to raid the gym. And at the time, this is like 2020, 2021. And so remote raids became a thing in Pokemon Go. And I can see the gym from my apartment that I lived in. And so anytime I seen a raid, I would send him an invite. The dude never showed up. He could be online, never showed up. I sent him like 5 to 10 raids. Didn't show up. And this was over a 2-week period too. After the 2-week period, I started noticing he's taking me out of gyms. I'm working at gyms in like the northern part of the town, and he's taking me out. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm here helping this guy out, and now he's targeting me. Even though I'm helping him out, but he's not taking advantage. So that's what I learned. It wasn't about golding the gym. Because there's an aspect of the game where you can gold gyms, and then you can brag about golding all the gyms in the area. So I got to the point where I was just getting mad. I unfronted him, and I was just getting mad because he would do this constantly for a good month. To the point where, like, one night I stayed up, and I just waited for him to take the gyms, and I literally just, like, I seen him start taking my gym one by one by one. You can tell which gyms go out. And then I started just going to the gyms, and I found that he had a path. To the point where this was like a 2-3 hour event, and he's like circling around trying to find me. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this dude because it's like almost midnight, and he's trying to circle. So I like was hiding at one point, just saving the gym. Found him at one of the community centers in the parking lot, and I pulled up. I was like, so do you want a truce? It's like, you leave me in my gyms, and I won't knock you out of every single gym after you knock me out. It's like, fine.
Just like that.
So this ended up being a back and forth thing. I ended up making several truces with him, and for the most part he would do it, but he would come back and he would target me and you target them. He would come to town just to simply attack them.
But it's not really a truce.
Yeah. Right.
Well, he truced with me. He didn't truce with them. He flat out hate them. So it started getting to the point where it was getting bad because he started tailing people. And of course, it's not illegal to tail somebody. It's harassment, but it's not illegal.
Okay.
Criminal, civil.
Okay.
Ro was looking at me all confused. So, civil-wise in civil court, you can file for harassment, you can file for a restraining order, but criminally, there's nothing wrong with it, right?
Makes sense.
There's no law against it.
It's still weird, dude.
Yeah.
Well, he ended
Hard
up
to prove somebody's fault.
getting multiple police reports, and somebody wrote an article about a pogo player following other pogo players and stalking them. So it's literally a newspaper article in the St. Cloud Times about it.
Do you have it?
I should be able to find it.
All right.
I don't know if I'll be able to find it quickly enough to talk about it in the pod.
No, you should
But
just have it. Just have it as just frame it.
Yeah.
Like,
Put it on your wall.
All right. So 6 months later from this, my friend makes a gym. And by the way, this is happening throughout the summer. He's still tailing. He's still at one point he almost ran into another Poco player because there was a small driveway, only enough for one car, and he took his truck and vastly tried to go into it. From what I've heard, it wasn't me. But he's in the same gym. He's came up and yelled at me. I had to be parked somewhere, and he would just come up and why are you taking my gym? Blah blah. Literally yelling at me, screaming at me. So my friend makes a gym, or was able to get a gym to pop up at her work. And she worked at a retail area with a drive-thru. And for this dude, for 3 weeks straight, and this is the part where I think I told you off the pod, but not on the pod, on your podcast.
Yeah.
So this dude, for 3 weeks straight, every morning would pull up to her workplace, right in front of her window,
Yeah.
and would just stare at her and take her gym. And just stare. Every day. And then he went inside one day, and he wrote a complaint how she was playing at work, trying to get her fired.
What a ridiculous human being. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Get something better to do with your time, man.
It's a retired man.
Yeah.
With the rage issues.
Find another
There's
hobby.
a lot of things to do when you're retired.
Yeah, find another
Yeah.
hobby.
And so, at this time, I'm on paternity leave. Maven was just born. I play every once in a while. And I got mad because I'm like, okay, as soon as, all the other stuff, fine, it's part of the game. The tailing is a little bit too far. But as soon as you try to get someone fired for playing a game, like, you're taking it too far.
Yeah, I remember that. You were hot. You were,
yeah.
you were on 10.
So I came up to him and I chewed his ass out. Like, you don't do that to people. You don't, like, it's a game. You don't, and he tried to deny it. And I'm like, dude, I have it right here. I have the photo of your name trying to get her fired. Like, you don't deny it. And I told him, like, leave her alone. This is harassment. You are harassing her. You are stalking her at this point. Like, this is this is a lady. You're an older man, and you keep coming to her place of work, staring her down, and essentially harassing her, now trying to get her fired.
Yeah.
This is harassment. This dude continues to do it. But he would do it at different times.
Okay.
So the next week, I catch him again. And I let him just have it. Like, and Sapphire was there, has it on video. And I just, like, let loose. I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Like, go. Get out. Like, you're harassing. Like, you know. Like, she's to the point where she started following a restraining order and now has a restraining order against them.
Good for her.
So, you think it ends there. It should end there. It should end with him and with a restraining order. It does not.
It should have ended the first time you told him to stop. That's
Yeah.
what it should have ended.
It should have never began with. But, like, the restraining order should have been where it ended. No, it does not. This dude is restraining, like, is no longer allowed on the premises of that store. Cannot be anywhere near her, like, where she lives, obviously restraining order, and cannot actually take any of her gyms in the game. That's in the restraining order now. Cannot harass her digitally.
That is, what a precedent to set. I appreciate it.
And this dude continued to go to the store at 4 a.m. to take her gym. He didn't stop. He got caught on camera. He got caught on camera several times. I caught a picture of him attacking the gym.
Is he in jail?
No, he has a court date next month.
Hey, good.
That's what I learned.
You've never really had an in-depth conversation with this person.
Oh no, I'd have. The story doesn't end there.
Okay. Oh, okay. Continue.
So 6 months later,
Well,
you know,
when are we right now? Just to catch us up.
okay, so this is last March, or this March. So I'm recovering from my,
Okay, so 6 months ago. Or a few months ago.
yeah, a few months ago.
Okay. March 2023.
Yeah, March 2023. This is recent. Somebody's taking my gyms, right? And now we have, like, third-party apps where I can see which color and, like, which months. And this dude puts either a strong pussy, which is the strongest. Reminder, we are at a live event.
Yeah, shit is going down.
Someone just lost, but no tables have been flipped
Not
as
yet.
of yet.
I really just want to carry the mics and be like, oh, this is amazing.
That's all I'm saying. Told him we gotta get lavalier mics. Or live
Alright.
mics. Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah, back to the story. So this dude, I, like, go to see if it's actually him, and the dude has a new vehicle. But he's not smart enough to get a different vehicle. It's just a newer version of his old vehicle. So I take a picture of his license plates just so my friend's like, hey, this is Also, I put, like, after the whole this is backtracking. After the whole thing, I put a thing on Facebook and Discord saying, like, hey, this is not cool. This man did this. I didn't even state who this man was. I just said this person did this and is not cool. He's been harassing all my friends for the last how many years, yada yada yada. Now he's trying to get someone fired. Like, this isn't cool. We should not do this. And then someone asked who is it, and I provided the name. But I crossed out in the picture, like, his actual name on top of, like, my friend's code name as well.
I think if somebody's doing something illegal, you should put them on blast.
Facts.
I agree, but
We're getting to it.
we're getting there.
We're getting there.
So, all right, this guy, back to somebody's taking my gyms. I come up in this. He originally is in a Ford Explorer, like an old Ford Explorer. I notice the person taking my gym is in a new Ford Explorer, same color, maroon. And I come up and I drive by. I'm like, who? I'm like, oh, it's him in a new car, but not in a really new car. It's the same car, just newer. And so he goes and he takes, like, I know exactly where he's going because he's going to the next gym to take me out, honestly. So I follow him I want to just chat with him. He's like, all right, what the fuck are you doing? What's up? Like, so I pull up beside him, pull down my window, or roll down my window, and he looks at me and just accelerates as fast as he can. This dude just runs. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not talking to him. And I laughed out loud. I'm like, all right, this dude's like afraid to talk to me. I guess like the last 2 times I talked to him, I chewed his ass out, so it makes sense. So I wasn't good. I didn't plan on following him, but like it was on the outskirts of town, so like he turned off into town, and so it was like, okay, I can either like follow him back to my house, not follow him, but I can either turn the way or I can, go out of town. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna slowly like not follow him, but I'm just gonna drive the way to go home. And the dude like stops, rolls down his window. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. I'll just see what's this up. So I pull up, and this dude has his camera out.
Yeah.
He's recording me.
Yeah.
And I forget exactly like the order of this conversation, but apparently he said he's going to sue me for defamation for the Facebook post. And I just kind of laugh. I'm like, yeah, you don't have a case.
It's
like,
really hard to prove defamation.
Yeah,
you
because
have to be saying something that's objectively false about them.
Yeah, you have to say something objectively false. I didn't even say it was him. Didn't say his name. Didn't even really say it's his code name. And I can prove that he did what he did with the
that's
right
not defamation.
there. And I can
that's
also
just facts.
And I also can prove that I went on my way. But like you can also prove that like I went on my way to make sure he wasn't defamed. That he wasn't like. So I'm like, all right, you don't have a case. It's like I have a 6-page affidavit against you and this player and this person, yada yada yada. And then this dude is like, I heard your family doesn't like you.
What?
And I'm like,
what the fuck
where'd you hear that? And he was just like, I saw it on your Facebook page. You made a post about it, how you said that your family doesn't like you because you fired with them on Facebook. I'm like, oh, you're doing research. And here's the thing.
He's doing his due diligence.
He's doing his due diligence. And here's the thing, like, this dude isn't a good person, and he has a public record. So I had information on him. So I was just like, oh, you're doing your research. I'm like, I've also done some research. I heard that you have a restraining order that you broke. Nah, no, I don't. I'm like, I seen that you did. I also seen that you've had multiple restraining orders. One on your ex-wife and your family. Apparently you're abusing them.
You said that to him.
And I'm like, I also heard that you used to sell drugs. And then you also cheated on your wife with somebody in the library. And he's just like,
damn. Right? He's got a Wikipedia page or something?
I heard information. It's a small town.
Fair.
I don't know if it's true. This is something I heard.
How did he react? That tells you what.
Oh, he's like, you're lying. And he just drove off.
It was true. It's all true. It's all true.
And I'm just like, oh. Okay then. And again, he's going the way that is like towards my house. I'm like, I'm not trying to follow this dude, but like, and then like it was in the area of my house. So I'm like, I'm gonna turn the opposite direction because I don't want this dude to know where I live. And so it didn't end there. So this guy continues to take me out and target me, and he's targeting them. He gets caught again too. Tom just joined us. We're talking about a crazy old man in Poco who's threatened to sue me.
Yo, all right. Tom, sit. No. You sit here, sir. All right. You sit here.
Do I stay?
Yeah, you don't want to sit by you anymore.
All right, you two share a mic, Brandon. You're with me. You come closer.
Okay.
So it doesn't end there. Because I had one more confrontation with him. The final confrontation. So I had my whole hospital thing, right? So I haven't been playing Pokemon Go for like 8 weeks. I haven't been targeting anyone. Even when I got out of the hospital, still wasn't playing. Just I was pretty defeated when it comes to all motivations, even though the podcast wasn't really recording. So this week I started playing again more heavily. So Tuesday I had a CT scan to make sure like everything was okay with my body. And after the CT scan, there's a new gym by the hospital. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go check it out. And this old man was continuously trying to take it. And again, other players take him out. There's like 10 other players that take him out daily for fun or whatever. It's like he's made a lot of enemies. And so I get done with the CT scan. I go to this new gym, and I pull up. And as I was pulling up, I seen it was yellow, but didn't see him in it. It was just some other yellow person. So I pull up, and as I pulled up, he drops. Giant Blissey all the time. Drops. And I look around, and I see him on a bench. I'm like, all right, I don't want anything to do with this dude. So I pull up in a different parking lot so he can't see me. And then I realized I was too far from the gym, so I pull out, trying to find a different spot where it's like away, out of sight, but still be able to touch the gym. As I pull out, I see this dude with his camera looking for me. And he sees me, and I'm like, well, shoot, all right. So I just parked. And this dude's just circling my car with his camera.
Like walking around you?
Walking around. And I pulled down, and he's just like, why are you following me? I'm not. Yes, you are. You're following me. How'd you know I was here? I'm like, I did it. You just dropped. Like, you were following me for sure the last 30 minutes. I'm like, dude, I just came from a CT scan, and I, like, pulled up my arm. Like, bring your camera closer. Come here, come here. I'm like, look. I'm like, yeah, at this point, I'm like, all right, if you're going to use this for evidence, like, come here, look. He's like, oh, bullshit, you weren't in a CT scan. My wife does this. I'm like, dude, there's still blood. I'm like, we're next to a hospital. There's a new gym next to the hospital, and I got a CT scan. This is a pretty believable story. It's 8:30 in the morning. And he's just like, I'm going to sue you for harassment for following me. I'm like, dude, I haven't done shit to you in like 8 weeks.
Okay. I have a question.
All right.
Can we switch gears real quick?
Yeah. You just got to... We're good. We're still good.
So right now, we are with Tom. Man is decked out in black and gold, which I respect.
Yeah.
Looking good. Looking good.
Now, I'm sure you guys already had an episode, right?
We talked
Yeah.
a little bit earlier.
Okay, talked about the tournament and everything.
Yep.
So, Tom, here's my question for you.
Sure.
Going off of this story with this fucking old man who's just insane. I remember when we were talking about how you have this event every year, right? And for the most part, people are pretty chill. You try not to have people come to the tournament that are like intense.
Yeah, flip tables.
Yeah,
Unintentionally.
unintentionally.
Well, I think it's always intentional when someone flips a table.
All the times that you've had this event, can you give us a time where, you know, somebody was just like, just doing way too much, and you're like, hey, you gotta relax, man.
Oh, absolutely. So this isn't. Didn't happen at the tournament, but it was a tournament affiliated thing. So every time after the tournament ends, usually about 6 or 7, we all go up to Boulder Tap House down the road, and people get drinks. And we continue on the partying and everything like that. Get food. Everyone's pretty tired, and I shit you not, there were these 2 like gym bros that just didn't fit in with the rest of these nerds. Like they were just these like jack tattooed gym bros, and I don't know who they were. They only showed up that one year, and they have never shown up since. But I shit you not, like there was another guy that was playing, and they got into an altercation. And these fucking dudes pulled knives on the parking lot of Boulder Tap House.
Oh, shit.
So we heard about this shit, and we didn't see it because we had left before that. But we're like, okay, we know exactly who those 2 dudes are. If they register, we're telling them to fuck right off, and they're never coming again. That is the worst that we've ever had here. Luckily,
Cold knife over Warhammer.
I don't think it was. It wasn't over Warhammer. I don't know if there was just some drunk. They were drunk and they were shit talking or something like that. It might have been something else.
But it was after a Warhammer
But it was after
event,
this
right?
event at
Okay.
Boulder. And some dude pulled a knife on him.
The real question is, why did they bring knives to a Warhammer event?
I mean, yeah,
Shit is real.
you never know when you get to stick somebody. But like the one good thing about this tournament in general, but we've been really lucky. Like the people that continually come here, we usually have like regulars, like 20 plus regulars every year that are always back, because they say there's some guys that are like, yeah, this is the only tournament that we play. I play once a year. It's here because
Nice.
So we're pretty lucky. The nerd community for the most part is pretty accepting, chill people for the most part.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, it was really weird having those gym bros, just fucking chads, ultra chads. So I judged a book by the cover on that year, and I was fucking right.
Were we expecting knives to be...
No, we have never had anything since. So, and again, that was the after party, so it wasn't even here.
That's good.
That's my only caveat.
I wonder how did that get resolved? They were like, yeah, you're great.
Yeah, you're good, man.
I'll back up.
Yeah, it pretty much how it was. The dude was just like, hey, man,
Not
this
worth
isn't
it.
worth this
Yeah,
shit.
not worth it. Whatever you're fighting.
So
I will claim you the winner now. Okay,
Yeah.
you win.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
there was no this wasn't a douchey moment, but this is a legendary moment. Did you guys talked to Alex Hunt earlier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this was probably 3 or 4 years ago, right? Alex has these beautiful painted things. He's like a professional painter. He does commission work
More
and
than
everything.
Axe.
And so he had this massive $120, $140, $150 Imperial Knight, right? And there's this other guy named Axel who is just shit canned, right? And he fumbled and knocked this knight on the ground, and it fucking shattered into like 400 pieces, right? So at that point, everyone was like trying to take Alex's glue away because he was already pretty drunk, and they didn't want him like gluing back his model when he was
Yeah.
shit-faced, right? So instead, after this happened after round 2, so he still had another game to play. All of a sudden, Alex just disappears, right? And we're like, where the hell's Hunt, right? And turn 3 goes around, everyone's looking for him, like, who's seen Alex? We go outside, and he's laying in the lawn of the Moose Lodge out here, just passed the fuck out drunk. He, like, in between the 2 matches in that half an hour, he, like, rage drank his sorrows away for his, night that he had spent 40, 50 hours making.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was that was one of the legendary moments. So it always gets brought up with him.
Never forget.
Never forget. Don't forget 2019's night incident.
Shoot. So I guess, Pokemon Go. Never had a knife pulled. Hopefully not. I wouldn't know with this crazy old.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got some balls.
I'm just getting.
Go up and talk some
I'm
stranger
just-
like that.
I'm just getting threatened with lawsuits.
I mean,
Yeah.
could you take this old guy in a fight?
I don't know about right now. I could.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I could have probably before. He's threatened to fight other people.
Yeah.
He's the Jon Snow character. He's been threatened to fight.
So he's like throwing down over Pokemon. He wants to throw down over Pokemon
Oh, yeah.
Go.
At one point when I was chewing him out for stalking one of my friends, I could tell that he wanted to go out. Actually, the funniest line, you've heard me say it. So at this time, I was wearing a pink shirt, shorts, and flip-flops. And he's like, "You're one of those Trump conservatives, aren't you?" This is a dude with this is an old man wearing a veteran hat and like a army shirt, calling me a Trump conservative. Pink shirt, flip-flops. And the shirt says, "Tough men wear pink." Or real men wear pink. And I'm like, yeah, that's totally me, you get. And then afterwards, like, I'm going to sue you. I'm like, dude, you realize if you sue me, I'm going to need a lawyer, and I'm just going to counter-sue you. And you already have all this stuff against you.
He obviously has money, apparently. If he has all his time just to run around stalking people with Pokemon Go.
And I'm like, you have fun. And he's like, you're smug, aren't you? I'm like, you win. You caught me. I'm a smug asshole.
That's my favorite.
This makes me think of a question. You said that you've encountered this old man multiple times, right?
Yeah.
But Tom, you running this event and seeing 2 Chads like pull out a knife. Has there ever been a moment for you guys where you see somebody who you know, like they're here to play the game, but something seems off? Have you ever just asked, like, why are you really here? Like, not even that question, but more, what does this do for you?
And he's party foul. Drink has been spilt. Good thing we have a bar, right?
Yeah.
Right, Brandon?
Yeah, that's right. Going back to that question, I actually have some insight on that. So I haven't. This is the first Warhammer tournament I've ever been to.
Yeah.
But in the past, I've played Magic. I've played Yu-Gi-Oh. I've been to tournaments for both.
Sure.
And there's definitely those type of people out there that just don't seem like they're having any fun either way. And you just kind of wonder, like, why do you play this game if you hate it so much? If you get so frustrated by it and you're just constantly making excuses and just like, if you're not having a good time, why are you here?
Me and you've been to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. There's a lot of serious dudes.
Oh.
It was like one of those card packaging open tournaments. Like, dude, no one's gonna have a good time. No one's gonna have a great deck.
I have all the respect in the world for all the nerds out there, but Yu-Gi-Oh players are some of the sweatiest players.
Oh, yeah. Turbo sweat.
Yeah, like, it is ultra competitive all the time. Everything is always, like, at the highest end.
Yeah, I mean, even though this is a friendly tournament, we do get a lot of guys that are they're still trying hard. They want that win.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to win. I think it's just like how you get there that matters and how you act about it.
So this is going back a lot of years ago, but so Warhammer there's a company, or not a company, like what would you call it? It's almost like the NFL, but it's called the ITC, right? It's like international tournament circuit or whatever. So they keep stats on Warhammer tournaments, like the big actual GTs and everything like that. We used to have a guy here. His name was Matt Root. He was #1 ranked ITC player, but he was the nicest. The only way I can put it is he's the nicest asshole you've ever played against. Like, you call him an asshole because he was so good and he methodically cut you apart piece by piece and would just.
But he'd be very nice about it.
But he was the nicest dude ever, right? Mm-hmm. And it really the problem was too is he was going to school to be a doctor, and I was like, dude, how can you have so many good things in your life going for you at once? I'm just like, come on, man. You have to have a small dick or something like that. That's the only way. That's the only way this balances out. But yeah, he was this PhD med school student, #1 player, and the time I played him, just absolutely kicked the living shit out of me. I looked I've been playing for 15 years, and I looked like somebody that's never played a game of War. Yeah. It wasn't even and he didn't even care. You'd screw up, he'd be like, oh yeah, go do that again, that's fine.
Yeah, didn't even matter to him.
But then the way you're I know it's because you're so confident in this that
exactly.
it doesn't even matter. I can reroll everything and I'll still lose against you.
He was already planning for your optimum line.
Yes.
So if you're doing anything other than your optimum line, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so... But like I said, it was the nicest ass beating I've ever received in Warhammer.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, everybody just wants to have a good game. Most of the time, it's not necessarily about win or lose. Maybe for some people it is, but you don't want to just get stomped.
Sure.
You want to actually feel like you did something and you had a chance in every game. At least that's how I feel about a lot of this stuff. I mean, I'm in a tournament thing that I want to win, but at the end of the day, when you're just playing, especially casually, you just want to have a good game.
So what I'm hearing from Brandon is that in about 12 months' time, we're going to see him back here at WAFest.
I was
2024.
talking about that earlier.
I mean, 10th edition is dropping within the week.
Does that mean that we have to wait for all new codexes for everything again?
So they're gonna.
Did they even finish?
They did finish everything. They're gonna switch everything over like they did in the last edition. They just made a big blanket index, which is just index for Imperium, index for Chaos, whatever.
Yeah,
and then as they come out and write them, they'll release 10th edition codexes for that. But until that time, you'll have the day one indexes.
So my only question, real quick, is: are Tyranids good?
Yeah,
they are good now. Okay, because that's what I want to build next.
Hey, and the good thing is that if you want to, you can get into it for $250. The box set right now is Tyranids and Space Marines. So if you have a buddy, Jake, that wants to go halvesies with you, or Romero, or whoever,
I have another good question.
I have one more. I have a story, and then we can wrap this up and maybe work do some interviews with Brian.
Yeah.
And I mean, with you, of course.
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Wait, is this for regarding this?
Yeah, it's about Warhammer. It's about Warhammer.
Did you wait for the interview?
Yeah, okay. I can wait to get both people's opinions. Because I am curious what your opinions are.
Okay. So I have another story regarding your question about when somebody got really, really into it, and it was just wait, whose question was it? Was it yours? Yeah, your question. So this isn't really nerdy, I would say, but cornhole, beanbags. So I usually do this. Me and my dad do this tournament every year. It's very you get drunk casual. The boards you play on are very mismatched, uneven. It's not a professional cornhole tournament, but it's a very serious one that we get into. And me and my dad, my dad got really, really good, and he wanted me to practice because he wanted to win. But it was more of a we want to win, but it's we still want to have fun and a good time. And this year we were really, really good. Except for the second match, we almost lost to 2 teenage girls.
Just because they're teenage girls doesn't mean they're not good at cornhole.
It was on the worst board possible for our play style because we will hold it in between and we'll throw it and it'll slide. But the board was so highly inclined and it was so slick that anytime we throw it, if it wasn't in the hole, it just slides off.
Sounds like an excuse to me.
You played me in cornhole.
Well, I know you're good. But it sounds like you're making excuses.
But like they'll throw it like normally and it'll just roll and like then it'll stick. So I had to change my place out. Anyway, besides the point, other than that game, we were just kicking butt. So for the very last match, the championship match, the guy we were playing with, he only came to this. It's a giant party that also has a tournament into it. He only came to this giant party, hours and hours away, like a 4-hour drive for him, to win this tournament. And he's not like, I've talked to him, not a bad person, or like somebody that you can have a good conversation with, but when competing wise, just a dick, an asshole, like not enjoying it, wants to win. And the entire time he's just like, and at one point, because you know, it's a drinking, by the time of the championship, you're pretty much drunk. This guy, I didn't realize he had another roll, so I moved it back. And my dad got like 1 point on him. And he's like, oh, no, you're cheating, blah, 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 blah. We're going to completely do a re-roll. And I'm like, I moved the bag 1 centimeter. He's like, no, I want a re-roll now. My dad got points on him. My dad's like, Jake, it's fine. Like, let it go. So I'm like, all right. My dad buried a 4-bagger on his ass. We got 12 points right there. And to finish the story, not to like brag about myself, because or like our team, my dad had the most clutch shot ever. Because it's not a 221 tournament, it's a whoever gets to 21 over tournament. And we're at a point where it was like 19-18. This team had 6 points on us. My dad needed to put one in the hole. He had one last shot. He needed to put one in the hole and get another bag in the hole somehow. The closest bag was like 3 centimeters out. I thought the game was over. My dad somehow threw it up in the air, caught the bag, and dragged both of them in the hole. Like I've seen many sports. I'm like, this is the most. I yelled clutch because I was like, I couldn't even believe it. And then the dude, then it turned to me because it was still like 2018, and the guy missed. And after that, I was like, yep, nope, you're not winning this. 1 in the hole, misses again, 1 in the hole, game over. Like, but anyway, that guy was just like, good game. Like, the fact that he was just so pissed off that I moved it 1 inch and my dad just buried a 4-bagger in there. Yeah.
It's definitely very satisfying to beat people like that, especially when you're not trying that hard.
My dad afterwards is like, I'm so glad that I'm happy we won the tournament, but I'm so happy we kicked his ass. Yep. And I'm like, that's why I told you to back off, because I was making sure that I was going to put 4 bags. That's why I wanted you to back off, because I knew I wasn't going to let him win.
Confidence, I like it.
Oh yeah. All right, should we wrap this up and get some other interviews in? Sure. All right, thank you, Ro. Thank you, Tom.
All right, thank you.